Let's go live. Good morning, welcome to our morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 23rd of February. So what we've got lined up today then, let's start off looking quickly at what news events coming out today. I can tell you in a nutshell, there's not very much. It's been a bank holiday in Japan, so that would have quieted things down a little bit maybe in some of the Asian trading, but it doesn't appear to in the equity markets. They've been flying. What's it been doing elsewhere? What we got today? Really, we've got speakers here. We've got some speakers this morning at 7:30. Well, that's Bank of England's Green must be speaking at the moment. Can't see any comments here yet. Well, it's supposed to be speaking. And ECB DeCoste speaking again. Well, that's at 8 o'clock. Right, German current conditions. We might get a blip around this. I know it's shown up here, highlighted quite big here, the business climate at 9 o'clock, but it's middle of the road, so it could give a little move. I wouldn't be keeping out for Euro trade specifically because of this. ECB later speakers at 9:20, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock, so it's a day of ECB speakers. That's pretty much here it for the day. The New Zealand retail sales, you'll be tucked up in bed probably by then. Right, let's look at these markets in some detail. We're going to look at the Euro US dollar first. And the Euro was marching away yesterday morning. It didn't take too long, even with the data coming out there, for it to run into some key resistance there. And it ran into its monthly pivot and its daily 50 MA. It is still travelling in an upward trend here on the intermediate time frame. Well, and it's of course broken the daily time frame. It's put some higher lows in amongst all this. So there we go. It's got the higher lows in on the 4 hourlies. So it's still technically in its new upper trend. Structurally, it's changed and it's running to the upside. Looking at it from an hourly point of view here, and well, I put this regression channel on yesterday. It's topped out. I've used this previous topping here just to see what would happen. Well, it pulled. Often news, when it's not massively a game changer, will move back to where it was prior to the news. Well, this is certainly gone back into its original sort of movement there. By 1 o'clock, it got to the mean. But it's actually broken a little bit further. Be interesting to see if this breaks. I mean, you just look at the 4 hourly actually. If the trend on the 4 hourly starts breaking, well, this could be a correction over. Not all corrections run forever. Remember, when we see waves, the wave to the retrace on these waves can be technical themselves and can be quite big at times, but it can still roll over. So this bigger day trend that sort of was sitting there could resume. Anyway, we'll see what happens. The pound remains in a really ugly looking picture on its dailies here. It really doesn't look great. It too, yesterday it rallied into the morning session there and only to foul. It just looked softish. It came off 9 o'clock and continued, and again came back to its regression level. Look at that, nice support into its S1, came all the way back to its 4 hourly S1. This really did go from pillar to post yesterday, and then rallied a little bit, looking a little bit stronger relatively than the euro with its bigger bounce here. However, it's in the sort of no man's land area here. If the consolidation was around the low, I'd expect it to be running to the low side. If it's consolidating near the highs, I expect it to push on and carry on. Here, I've got no idea which way it's going. So it leaves me tradeless there for now. The US dollar yen easing its way, the dollar just against the yen there, easing its way to the upside. It's sort of broken out the upper side of this horrible ugly wedge. All wedges are horrible and ugly to me. Higher lows coming through, not here yet though. We haven't broken the near term high, but has been pushing up. It is in that sort of trend at the moment to the upside. Bigger picture still is very much to the upside for now, at least. Not any trades that I want to be playing there, and I don't want to go counter either. I know some people will go counter some of these yen trades, but that's up to them. There's better fish to fry. Is that the right term? Anyway, Aussie, the Aussie is continuing to push up there, looking reasonable through the Asian session. High lows certainly through into yesterday. Again, it retraced from the yesterday's high point here into its R2. The pivot's playing a major role yesterday, and continuation here this morning, pushing above the pivot. It's erring on that more bullish side for now, at least, but no setups there for me. US dollar CAD. Now this is a weird old one. It was coming off nicely yesterday. It's got into a bit of a mess on the dailies. It's trying to break down this trend line that's sitting there, but you look at it, take all the lines off of this, and you look at it, and it's sort of a bit of a, well, maybe a rising channel still. But when you look at it on the intermediate time frames here, if I was looking at the intermediate, there you go, intermediate time frames, thank you, the 4-hourly time frame, well, arguably there was a bit of a head and shouldery sort of pattern running across here, which it's, well, not really done too. It depends on where you look at the neckline, and we were looking yesterday, and I think at least one person referred to this part as the neckline. Personally, I think it may have been a better draw up here, but either way, it was ugly. But here we go. And all it's really done is broken that trend, pulled back up, retest it, and currently it's sliding to the downside there. I'm seeing comments here. No, it's Friday, no fishing today, just watching the water. There we go. Yeah, and there might be a lot of watching the water going on this morning. Anyway, what for the US dollar CAD then? Well, there could be a breakdown again of the pivot. It's intermediate time frames there, the lower time frame here. If it was to break, it certainly would be looking like it had chance to come back to those prior lows. Not a great deal of things driving. New Zealand dollar, it's been continuing its push up there. It's probably one of the cleanest in terms of its overall movements. It broke there on Tuesday and hasn't, well, it has looked back, and it's still got quite a high frequency move in terms of it pulls back quite regularly and quite a deep movement, and you can still see it sitting on here. Caught the bounce there yesterday afternoon back off its pivot, and it's been rallying since then, but it's gradually working its way, or continue to work its way up there. Other pairs that everyone likes to short is like things like the euro yen here. I still say please don't short it. It might have its little rallies or retracements or whatever, but I don't think this is over yet. I think this has got more legs in it, but not necessarily from here. It will move at some point. Like the euro pound here, got very messy yesterday. One I did catch, and I put on the just as we finished the room yesterday. There was a lovely setup. I'll take you back to it so you can see what it looked like at the time. It was looking like this, he says, or something like this. One more bar, please. There we go. There it goes, and it broke pretty much just shortly after 10 o'clock and ran over the next few hours to its target there. So a nice clean move there. What's it doing today? Well, not a great deal here at this stage. It's got a bit sort of ugly, where it is now, not looking quite so pretty. Potential higher low to come through there. The lovely trend that was in there, that was it. Sometimes you just see these lovely little clean moves and off they go. Well, that one worked out from yesterday. Okay, I'm going to run through the rest of the markets here, the rest of Forex markets in the room in a short while. Other than that, let's have a quick look at the indices. Gold, I say indices and gold. Gold, well, rolling over a little bit yesterday, slowing up here, still in this descending channel effectively, not going anywhere too quickly. I'm not at all bullish on it at this stage. Oil's just very tight range. I was talking about this sort of level yesterday. It did pinch out there a little bit in the afternoon. The earlier 2 o'clock move there started coming bullish engulfing. It did crack on and start breaking out. It's pulled back in at the moment. I've steered clear of it this week. I really haven't been in there. I have to confess I was waiting for the break of the highs here, but happened quite late for me there. I was off in the car, so yeah, missed that anyway. But this scope, I still think, on this upside to potentially break out. And if it doesn't, well, we might see a bigger correction. Okay, so the big markets then, what's been happening here then? S&Ps. I almost beg people not to short these, but they will. Anyway, S&Ps flying again yesterday. A lot of this movement driven by the joy of Nvidia pushing up by a quarter of the whole of the capitalization of Bitcoin in one day. So there we go. The biggest capitalization increase in a day ever, in volume, exceeding Meta's previous high of about 197 billion. It was 250 billion roughly, I think. Anyway, moving big time, and you can see the sorry, I'm on the 4 hourly here, didn't I? But you can see the Nasdaq pushing up here, not quite into all-time highs on the Nasdaq, but the S&Ps has certainly gone there, and the Dow Jones certainly pushed into it and running. Great year in the equity markets this year. It started off a bit slower, but decent percentage gains already across these markets. And I still wouldn't stand in front of the bus or the train or whatever you like to call it. It's running up there too strongly, and it's got potential to continue. Yes, a lot of the interest rate increases have been priced into the markets, but there is some half decent data coming out for some of these majors, and which is driving the oomph, the momentum. Right, DAX has followed suit here. Yesterday it carried on. It's into its monthly R2 at the moment, maybe slowing down here, looking at lower time frames, bit of consolidation around the high. We could see some more to the upside here. It does have an untouched pivot, which I don't particularly like. I'd like to see it retraced to the pivot through the Asian session for a move, but holding on quite well there. FTSE sluggish. Looking on a daily, it's the laggard of the equity markets at the moment, pushing up a little bit at the moment, but yesterday quite modest movements. Maybe sometime it will start picking up again. It's not doing too bad here at the moment. It's starting to pick this morning on lower time frames. You could see more coming through. Anyway, I'm sitting there on those markets, not necessarily any trades there, but certainly expecting further continuation. Okay, that's it for me today. I'll catch you. There's a link below if you want to join me in the trading room for the rest of the morning. I'll catch you there. Otherwise, I'll speak to you next Monday. Bye for now. There we go. Right.